Whoever pays on a date has the power. As a femdom, I am very savvy with power dynamics. Domination and submission is a lifestyle, so of course I know and understand all the nuances of power. You're listening to the Mistress Code. I'm RacyWilde. I only go on dates when I am prepared to pay 100% of the bill. Why? Because I'm powerful. It doesn't mean I will end up paying. And there are many reasons for this, which I will discuss, but I always have the power to. I see a lot of little girlies around the internet, even role-play dominant women, saying they expect the man to pay for their dates for various reasons, but the main one is because they say they like tradition, that it shows that a man is a gentleman. Yes, it is true that when a man adores a woman, he wants to share his riches with her, but he does this because it is a power he has. These little girlies don't realize that the one who pays has the power. The reason why a man paying for a woman is tradition is because for hundreds of years, women weren't allowed to earn money. Women weren't even allowed to carry money. There is a whole history as to why women's clothing don't have pockets. Money was a right for men, not women. And so men had to pay for women all the time. It wasn't him being a gentleman, it was a necessity. This is where the tradition of a man paying has come from. So the women today who like men paying because it is a sign of a gentleman, they are literally saying they support the tradition of women having no money or no choice and no rights. When I go on dates, I never expect the other person to pay. I go on dates with men, women, and trans, and as a dominant woman, I am the one who has the power in the dynamic. No, I am not a sugar mama. I am a femdom. So being in the position of power is where I feel my best self. If you want to have equal power in your relationship, then the first thing you do is pay equally. If the woman expects the man to pay every time, she is putting herself into a powerless position. Why? Because she is dependent on the man's money. Dependency is insecurity. The payer has the power because they can take away their money whenever they want, leaving the dependent to have to pay. The problem is most dependents can't pay. That's why they are dependent in the first place. A woman being dependent on a man's money means she is powerless. And she has just wasted the last 50 years of feminism trying to get women to have equal rights to money and therefore pay. Now, as a femdom, money is a power play. It's funny when I see the horrified look on my date's face when I pay for dinner or coffee or a nightclub. And it doesn't stop there for me. I have paid for hotels, travel, concerts, resorts, international trips, clothing, play equipment, etc. Why? I had the power to. This is not to say I don't let men pay for me. I have, and I do, but I am selective. I have been offered clothing and hotels and holidays and even a house. I never accepted them because I can't be bought. If I allow a man to give me money, it is because he is important to me. If I do not care for a man, I will not allow him to have the intimacy of paying for me. Why do I see paying for me as something so special? Because it impacts my power. It puts me in a vulnerable position. Because of the balance of the universe, if a man pays for me, I owe him gratitude. No, Domina aren't ungrateful bitches who just use people. This does not garner respect. The longevity of power is being respected. The women who use Femdom as an excuse to be bad-mannered, disrespectful, greedy tyrants are too dumb to know this. Giving gratitude is very important to a Femdom, but of course, she is alluring and sexy about it. But it is still a vulnerable state of being which needs to be managed to maintain the power dynamic. I want to make sure that the man is paying for me with the right mindset, that he does it out of submission. Now, a lot of people think submission is about being a little bitch boy, giving up your autonomy and control to a dominant woman. That is what we tell beginners, because beginners do not have the foundations of domination submission to understand the higher lore. Submission is about surrendering one's soul for the purpose of another, thus fulfilling one's own purpose. Submissives get pleasure from the pleasure of their dominant. Thus, I do not allow just any person to submit to me. I pay because I want to have a great experience with a person. I pay because I want to choose the experience. I pay because I want to be in control of the quality of our experience. I pay because I don't want money to get in the way of things. I pay because I don't care about money. To me, money is just a necessary evil to have the great experiences I want with the great people I want. Yes, I do believe that there is such a thing as findom, but 99% of the little girlies doing it aren't real findoms. They are just capitalizing on femdom because it seems like an easy way to make money. But I know some great findoms, old school and very inspiring. I will tell you that findom isn't really about the money. It is about the power dynamic, and the money is just the tool being used. But I also know a few findoms who get sexually aroused by money. Any woman who wants money from domination to pay her bills is not a real findom. I am the worst findom in the world. The thing with fin subs, they want to give up their money. It is how they submit. But being a real sadist, that doesn't work for me. I learned early on that the best way to destroy a fin sub is not to allow him to give me money. And one of my best love moves is when he hands over his hard-earned cash and I burn it in front of him. Again, it is about the power from me. A fin sub would want me to spend his money on pleasures. No, I don't do what fin subs want. I do what I want. I burn it, or I give it to another man or to charity. And then I enjoy watching the fin sub agonize over me not using the money the way he wanted me to. But seriously, the online findoms of today aren't real findoms. They are sexless prostitutes because most of them do what the sub wants in order to get the money. And, as I said previously, this makes them dependent, which means they have no power. The reason why they get away with being called findoms is because they are fulfilling male fantasy. They do not hold up in reality like most male fantasy femdoms. So the few men that I do allow to pay for me, it becomes an erotic experience. They know that by paying, they have the power, and they know I know it, and they watch me, how I deal with this vulnerable state as they tap their card. The moment always irritates me. I can sense their hidden male cocky glee that they are finally in my favor. And yes, they are in my favor because I allowed them to pay. Sometimes in female domination, you have to surrender to allow a man to become a submissive.